Welcome to Boot Up and thanks for joining us today. Dating. It's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, and let's be real, we all make mistakes. But don't worry, today we're breaking down the 5 biggest dating fails most of us make in the first year, and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1. Rushing into exclusivity. Sure, things are moving fast, you're texting 24/7, you're already picking out their cat's name for when they inevitably move in with you, but hold up, pump the brakes. The first year of dating is like that awkward first day at a new school. You're trying to figure out who sits at the cool kids table, who to avoid in the hallway, and if you accidentally used your cafeteria lunch money to buy Skittles at the vending machine. Again, you're exploring, getting to know each other's habits and seeing if your values align, like, do they also think pineapple on pizza is a crime against humanity? Important stuff. Don't rush into defining the relationship before you've even figured out if they use dark mode on Instagram, which, let's be honest, is a deal breaker. Give it time to naturally evolve, like a fine cheese or a Pokemon. Look, I get it. We all crave that Facebook official status, that feeling of finally finding the one, but trust me, taking it slow is the key. Think of it like this. You wouldn't binge watch your favorite show in one sitting, would you? You savor each episode, analyze every plot twist, and spend way too much time on Reddit dissecting fan theories. Okay, maybe that's just me. But the point is, relationships, much like good TV, are best enjoyed at a pace that lets you appreciate every detail. Rushing into exclusivity is like putting a label on a jar before you've even tasted the jam inside. It might look good on the outside, but you don't know if it's going to be your new favorite flavor or leave a bad taste in your mouth. Okay, enough with the food analogies, my stomach's rumbling now. Just remember, good things take time. Mistake number 2, ignoring red flags. Oh boy, we've all been there, haven't we? Blinded by the fireworks, the butterflies in our stomachs doing the Macarena, convinced we found our soulmate. But hold on a second, what about that little voice in the back of your head whispering, "Girl, run"? Yeah, that one, don't ignore it. Look, I get it. Love, or even just a strong infatuation, can be like those rose-tinted glasses they sell at tourist traps, making everything seem picture-perfect. But trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Maybe they're constantly putting you down, or maybe they have a habit of ghosting, then reappearing like they've just returned from a silent retreat. Or maybe they refuse to eat cilantro and that's just a deal-breaker for you. Whatever it is, pay attention to those warning signs early on, even if it means facing an uncomfortable truth. Ignoring red flags is like scrolling past the terms and conditions before you click agree. You might think you're saving time, but you could end up agreeing to something you'll regret. And believe me, a broken heart is way harder to deal with than a 10-page document full of legal jargon. Now, I'm not saying you should be a relationship detective, constantly analyzing their every move and searching for hidden clues, but it's important to be aware of any consistent patterns of behavior that raise concerns. Do they have a history of cheating? Do they struggle with commitment? Do they still live with their mom? Okay, that last one isn't necessarily a red flag, but it's definitely something to discuss. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who brings out the best in you, someone who respects you, values your opinions, and treats you with kindness. Don't settle for anything less, no matter how much you like their Spotify playlists or their ability to make you laugh until you snort milk out of your nose. So how do you spot these red flags? Well, for starters, trust your instincts. Our intuition is like that friend who always gives the best advice, even if we don't always want to hear it. If something feels off, don't brush it off. Talk to your friends, get their perspective, and see if they notice any patterns that you might be missing. Mistake number 3, losing yourself in the relationship. Ah, the classic tale of two souls becoming one. Romantic, right? Well, not so fast. While it's beautiful to be deeply connected with your partner, it's equally important to maintain your own identity. You were a whole, amazing, independent person before this relationship came along, rocking your own unique style, slaying your goals, and having dance parties in your underwear with reckless abandon. Don't let that person disappear just because you're smitten. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of a new relationship, spending all your time with your new boo, adopting their hobbies, their friends, even their taste in music, even if secretly you're judging their questionable love for polka music. But hold up, remember that thing called you time? Yeah, that. It's crucial. Think of it like a delicious bowl of biryani. You've got your fluffy rice, succulent meat, aromatic spices, and crispy fried onions. Each ingredient is amazing on its own, but together they create a symphony of flavors. That's what a healthy relationship should be like. Two unique individuals coming together to create something beautiful and balanced. So, how do you avoid losing yourself in the relationship? First and foremost, prioritize self-care. Mistake number 4, avoiding conflict. Now, who here loves a good argument? Nobody? Shocking. I get it, conflict can be uncomfortable, but in a relationship, it's inevitable. And you know what? That's okay. It doesn't mean your relationship is doomed, it means you're human. Avoiding conflict is like ignoring a leaky faucet. Sure, it's easier to pretend it's not there, but eventually that little drip, drip, drip will turn into a raging torrent of frustration and resentment. Not exactly the recipe for a happy and healthy relationship, is it? Look, disagreements are bound to happen when two people are navigating life together. You might disagree on what movie to watch, where to go for dinner, or how to fold a fitted sheet. Seriously, is there a right way? The key is to face these conflicts head-on, with respect and a willingness to compromise. Now, I'm not suggesting you pick a fight every time your partner breathes too loudly, but instead of letting minor annoyances fester and grow into major blowouts, address them early on. Remember, communication is key. When addressing a conflict, approach it with a calm and respectful tone. Avoid blaming or accusing language and instead focus on expressing your feelings and needs. Use I statements like "I felt hurt when you didn't listen to me" instead of "you always ignore me." See the difference? It's like choosing to defuse a bomb instead of throwing it back and hoping for the best. And remember, listening is just as important as speaking. Mistake number 5, relying too much on social media. Social media, the double-edged sword of the 21st century. On one hand, it allows us to connect with people all over the world, share our lives with loved ones, and discover hilarious cat videos. On the other hand, it can wreak havoc on our relationships if we let it. We live in a world where every date, every milestone, every perfectly curated meal is documented online for the world to see. But here's the thing, relationships shouldn't be lived for the gram. They should be experienced in the real world, with genuine connection, shared laughter, and maybe a few awkward silences thrown in for good measure. Relying too much on social media for validation or to gauge the success of your relationship is like judging a book by its cover. You might think you know everything about it based on the carefully curated image presented online, but you're missing out on the depth, the complexity, and the messy but beautiful reality of what lies beneath the surface. So, how do you avoid falling into the trap of social media comparison and oversharing? For starters, set some boundaries. Maybe designate certain times as phone-free zones, like during dinner or while watching a movie together. Focus on being present in the moment, enjoying each other's company, and having those real-life conversations that don't involve emojis or hashtags. And speaking of hashtags, let's talk about the dreaded relationship goals phenomenon. Stop comparing your relationship to the perfectly filtered, staged, and often unrealistic portrayals of love you see online. Remember, social media is a highlight reel, not a documentary. It's easy to showcase the good times, the romantic gestures, and the picture-perfect vacations. What you don't see are the arguments, the insecurities, and the everyday struggles that come with being in a relationship. Instead of seeking validation from likes and comments, focus on building a strong foundation of trust, communication, and intimacy with your partner. Remember, the first year is all about learning and growing together. Make the most of it by avoiding these common mistakes, and your relationship will have a stronger foundation. Want more dating advice? Hit that subscribe button and join the Boot Up family. See you next time.